Hey, what's up guys? So in this video, I want to teach you guys how to actually multi-track record a Sunday service so that you can just have that if you want it, but also so that you can actually do a virtual sound check. So this is really helpful if you're trying to dial in the sound and you don't want to have the entire team come. You can actually record all the tracks on a Sunday and then come on a later day as a sound man and actually mix everything. So I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. So going to the actual board, here we've got the x32, so I would have assumed you already turned the two switches on back there so that you can hear things coming out, and then you've got your board on. So if I turn this guy on, we should have sound coming out. Got to make sure the master's up, and check. We are live. So how you actually record all of this is what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to this computer, because on this computer I have Logic Pro set up, and Logic Pro is what they call a DAW, Digital Audio Workspace, which is basically just a software for recording. We're going to pull up Logic Pro. What's going to come up right away is going to say choose a project, and what you can just choose is live stream. So I have this set up so that when we hit that, we've got all the tracks we need to be able to live stream. So you'll see right away you have this live stream track, and if we hit this little down arrow on the side, everything's going to come up in terms of all the different instruments. So all of these different instruments are going to actually correspond to all of the tracks on here. So if you can see, we've got in channel 1 our kick, and if I turn that up and down, that's going to affect the level of this track right here, because it's also the kick. So all of those are paired to each other. So when I hit this record button, let's get a little closer so you can see it. So I just hit that record button on the live stream. When that is ticked, so now it's going to be recording everything that's coming in. However, there's one more step that we need to do to make sure that we're actually getting the signal in. Because right now, if I talk into this microphone, check, because I'm almost out of battery. Hold while I go get some batteries. All right, so we got our batteries. So if I come over here and I'm talking into this mic, so I'm getting signal on the board, and you would think I would be getting signal right here too, right? So typically these guys are going to flash as well, indicating that we're getting signal, but it's not. So why isn't that happening? Well, the reason is because we haven't actually plugged in the board into this computer. So one thing going on here that's a little bit of a bummer is this computer only has two inputs, and so we're live streaming with this guy. So this is plugged into one of the inputs, and then we've got a charger for the other input. And so if you want to record, what we've got to actually do is take out the charger, and then we've got to plug in this other cord, which is the connection to the board. So that, and I'll show you where that goes in here. So this cable right there is what's plugged in to this computer. So now you'll notice that what we also see, so before we didn't see that little eye, and now we can see that eye. So that's how you know it's plugged in. And if we can double check, we hit this little icon up here, the sound icon, and it should say X live. So that indicates that it's connected. And then one more check we got to do is we're going to go to the Logic Pro up at the top, settings, and then audio. And in this, both output device and input device should say X live. Okay, so that's good. So now, when we exit out of that, if I talk into this mic, you'll notice, check, 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 we're starting to get signal right here. And if we go down to, I think this mic check is Elder 2, actually. So this is the other thing. In order to record everything, you got to actually hit that R on the live stream, and that'll arm everything. The only way it's actually going to start picking up what you're speaking is if you have that R armed. So that has to be armed for every single track, and you do that really easily by just hitting the R on the live stream. When we come down here, now when I'm talking check, 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 you can see how an Elder 2, it's picking that up because this is the Elder 2 mic. Check, check, check. So then if you want to record on a given Sunday all of the tracks so that you can play it back later, all you have to do then is you got to make sure this is armed. So all of these need to be flashing red on the R. But then you've got to hit up here just this record button. So now you're going to notice we're going to start to see all of these record channels happening. So that means every instrument that's being played on stage right now is going into the board and is now passing through that cord, coming into here, and is being recorded. And so the only instrument that we currently have on is that Elder 2. So when I talk, check, 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 you're going to start to see the waveform on Elder 2 move a little bit instead of it just being blank. So, go a little bigger on each track so that you can see how when I was talking into the mic, that's what was being picked up. It's on the Elder 2 track. Cool. And then you're done. You can just press spacebar, and that will end the track. So let's say that was our recording of the Sunday service. Now, what you might want to do is then come back to this and mix the levels outside of a Sunday service, because you might be like, man, that sound just sounded a little rough, so I want to actually go back and listen to what it sounded like. So you can actually do that. And the way that you do that, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight an area. So I'm going to highlight this from 13 to whatever, because that's when we've got some audio playing. So what is happening right now, because we have, so up here, Logic Pro settings audio. So right now, the tracks are also outputting to the X Live, which means what we can do is run this audio back through here. And so it's going into the board. And what we can do, this is a really cool trick. You can go over here to routing. And then if this is what we need right here. So what I can actually do is go over to play and hit OK. And now the tracks should be playing back. So I had everything muted, but you see when I unmute, so now you can see that I'm talking into the mic, even though that's not me, right? So what I just recorded is now being played back through those speakers. So if I wanted to, I could record all those tracks, and then by using that technique of hitting routing and then changing this to play, so you just move this over so that it says play and press OK, that will allow you to monitor it back. Now, the only thing about this is that once you're done and you're like, okay, I've done the multi-track listening, I'm good, you can hit space, stop that, and then come back here, turn it back. You have to do this and turn it back to where it says record and hit OK again. Otherwise, when you try to sound check on Sunday, you will not be able to. So you have to make sure you change that back before the next Sunday. Otherwise, nothing will come through the system, and your sound guy will be banging their head against the wall, wondering what is going on. Why can't I get any sound? And the reason will be because of that little knob. So that has to get changed back after you finish a virtual sound check. So anyways, guys, I hope this has been helpful. It took me a while to figure it out, so hopefully it saves you a few hours of searching around online. But that said, I will leave my email in the link, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, and I'll see you in a future video. All right, see you guys.